Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Austin, and really good to be with you here right now. I'm here with my friends. This is B-Webb, Brian Webb, Sophie, and Aaron. And man, we're all here because all of the buildings are closed, but we are not going to stop worshiping. We're still going to worship. No matter where you're at, we're still going to get together. The biggest reason that this is a factor, it plays into our everyday lives. Music is just one part of worship. There's many ways we can worship. But this is just one way where we just get to voice our praise and our worthiness to God because he's worthy of it. He's worthy of our praise. And I just want to invite you into that. We're going to do this together. Yeah? Cool. Let's kick this thing off. Kick it off right. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4. I once was dead in sin, alone and hopeless. A child of wrath, I walked, condemned in darkness. Your mercy brought new life, and in your loving kindness raised me up with Christ and made me righteous. All right, here we go. As you have brought me back with the riches of your amazing grace and relentless love, I'm made alive forever with you, life forever by your grace. I'm saved. Yes, Lord, you are the light that broke the darkness. You satisfy my soul. You satisfy my soul when I am heartless. If ever I forget my true identity, show me who I am and help me to believe. You have brought me back with the riches of your amazing grace and relentless love. I'm made alive forever with you, life forever by your grace. I'm saved by your grace. I'm saved. My sin has been erased. I'll never be the same. We'll sing that again. My sin has been erased. I'll never be the same. We sing it again. My sin has been erased. Oh, yes. I'll never be the same, no. Oh, 'cause my sin has been erased, and I'll never be the same. Oh, you have brought me back with the riches of your amazing grace and relentless love. Made alive forever with you, life forever by your grace. I'm saved by your grace. I'm saved. You have brought me There is no one like you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Great are you. You give life. You give life. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Oh, great are you, Lord. We sing it again. Great are you, Lord, 'cause you are, Lord. Oh, great are you, Lord. So you give life. You give life. You are love. You bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Oh, great are you, Lord. We sing it out. It's your breath. It's your breath in our love, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, yeah. So we pour to you only. It's your breath in our love, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our love, so we pour out our praise to you only. There is no one that is like you. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord, from everlasting good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are. And I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. To us every moment, every minute. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. To us, you are perfect. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. To us, great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. There's no one like you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Just tell him how great he is. How great you are, my Lord. Great are you, Lord. Oh, great are you, Lord.
Build a chariot of cloud and take flight. Your palace lay in oceans deep. When you rise, you robe yourself in light. The sun and moon lay at your feet. So why give anybody else the glory? Why give anybody else the praise? Why give anybody else the worship? Why give anybody else my praise? You commandeer the wind to whisper your name. The birds are pleased to sing your song. Craters, canyons, even the rocks cry out. The stars proclaim you all night long. Oh, so why give anybody else the glory? Why give anybody else the praise? Why give anybody
God, I thank you that you are faithful and you are true to your being. You never change, and I'm so thankful for that. So grateful to serve a good King and a good Savior, and I just ask that for all of us, that you just draw us closer to your identity, and ultimately so that we can just walk closer with you and be better sons and daughters. Amen. Man, love worshiping with you guys, man. Love worshiping with you guys. That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like should we high five? Let's high five. We're gonna do it now. Yeah, that's it. That's good. Yeah, that's good. A little back pat. That's good. Man, regardless of what this year has held for you, we've all probably had ups and downs. It just stays true that God's faithfulness and his character, it just never changes. It never changes. And we're going to hear a little bit from Brian of what this year has kind of looked like for him. And it's good.
Well, it's that time of year. It's the end of the year. One of the disciplines I have in my life is to take a look back at the last year. This is also called remembering. In the Bible, it talks over and over and over about remembering. Over 200 times the word remember is talked about. In the book of Psalms, it says this. Psalm 143:5 says, I remember the days of old. I meditate on all that you have done. I ponder the work of your hands. God has been doing things in your life. His hands have been on your life. They have. It's a regular discipline of mine to look back and remember those things. To know what happened in my last year gets me ready for my next year. A couple things you can do to do this. One, you just go through your calendar and just see all the things you did over this last year and pay special attention to those things that were sort of multi-day things. They often have clues. And you can also go back into your photos and just look at all of your photos. I was doing this and I came across this little beauty. Yeah, one of the places I wanted to go sometime in my life is to a U2 concert. And yes, I did. Not a U2 concert. I got to have, I almost said John Bon Jovi. I forgot his name. What is it? Bono. John Bon Jovi, Bono, whatever his name is. I got to have Bono actually touch me. Oh, it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. But the best way that I've learned from my last year is to actually go through this place. This is my house that I'll be moving from in 2018. Hopefully, if someone buys it, that might be you. Maybe you'll see something here that you like. But inside this house are all kinds of memories of how God has had his hand on my life in ways in which I've learned and grown. So let's go to different places that have caused me to remember where I've went in 2017. And I'm hoping that you're gonna hear this and see this, and it's gonna help you in your own reflection journey to learn where you've gone in 2017, how the hand of God has been on your life, and how you need to make changes to have the best 2018 possible. So this place in my house has a lot of memories. It's my dining room. It's where my family has eaten meals together for 15 years around this table, as they like to say, if these walls could talk. But this room isn't just a dining room any longer. It's actually became an order fulfillment center. It's been a place for business for me and my family. In 2017, I went to business school. My bike has a design flaw that I noticed because people in the biking community who have my model bike started complaining about it and bitching and moaning about it all over the world, like this thing is coming undone, it's unsafe, yada yada. And instead of just like hearing and jumping in on the negative train, I said, maybe I could do something about this. And so I did. I leaned into a friend who has a tooling shop, and I figured out the right design and basically designed the stance clamp. These little clamps right here that clamp over the area that tends to be weak and keeps it from being weak. And my word, this thing, it just took off like wildfire. People from all over the world have my product that I invented and I got an LLC for and a business account for and all that kind of stuff on their bikes. It's pretty cool. Awesome. I learned a lot about business school this last year. Now, to be clear, there are business elements to Crossroads. You have staff you have to evaluate. You have books you have to balance and manage. There's a level of marketing. Yes, all that stuff is. But there's some huge difference between business and between nonprofit. I'll get to in a moment. But in this business, I got to identify with those of us who are in business to a greater degree. I had to figure out marketing. I had to figure out what it's like to invent something. I had to go through a patent process. I had to figure out how do you package something. What is the best and most economical way to ship something out? I had to deal with people who were jumping my claim, people who were doing knockoff products. While my patent was in process, people seeing it and copying it and chopping down the price. I dealt with every aspect of business, including pretty much going out of business. I sold so many of these around the world that the company that had the design flaw decided to make it right, and they did a factory recall. So everybody got their bikes fixed for free, which was awesome, great. I served the whole biking community by doing that, but at the same time, I got put out of business. I got some unused inventory because, by the way, this is better than that fix. This is the original. It's better. And I made a lot of jack with this, So I learned that whole thing. And one of the fascinating things I learned too is that if you're in the nonprofit world, you got a really hard gig because business is so straightforward and I might even say simple. I don't mean to insult those of us from business. Just follow me out for a moment. It's very simple. It works like this. Hey, do you like this? Do you like this? Oh, you do? Guess what? You can have it. And you say, how do I have that? It's $185 shipped. Here it is. Yeah, so you give me money or you send me PayPal, and then I give you that. It's wonderful. You give me money, I give you, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. And I get an instant feedback as to whether I'm giving value or not. In the nonprofit world, you say, oh, do you like that? I want to serve you by giving you this product. Would you like this product? There you go. Oh, would you like this? Oh, you like, oh, let me get that. There you go. Oh, you kind woman. Yeah, sure, you go. And then you sit around going, boy, I hope someday those people realize that all that stuff there wasn't cheap. And I hope they realize that we could use something back so we can keep producing that and adding value. That's basically what a nonprofit is, what Crossroads is. You're constantly giving services with no guarantee that anything will ever come back. And the beauty and simplicity of you get this when you get that has been really cool and eye-opening. Now, what's this mean for my 2018 and future, and what maybe for yours? I think a lot of us just have conditions, our economic condition, our place in life, the job we have. I think we tend to be just like all those other riders in the community forums that I was on that just complain about the current place where they are instead of thinking, how has God blessed me with ideas and abilities, and maybe I could go do something. Maybe it's not starting a new business. Maybe it is starting a new business. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's looking for a new job. Here's the deal, man, 2018, you're not a victim of anybody. You're not a victim of anybody. No. You control your life, and if there's something you don't like, go to town, go to business on that thing. Jesus was not afraid of the word business. In the book of Luke chapter 2, he said, don't you know I be about my Father's business? I'm about my Father's vision for my life, my Father's vision for this world, and put yourself against the business of God in whatever sector of your life that is. Stop being a victim. Take control of yourself in 2018. Try something new. Make it happen. Well, we're in one of the favorite portions of my house. This is the garage. In the garage is the staging area for all of my adventures. That's where I went in 2017. I want to go there in 2018 as well, and I want you to as well. I went on an adventure. I'm right now in front of the vehicle that I take a lot of adventures on. It's my motorcycle. It's a bit muddy right now. I was just down in Kentucky riding in 30-degree weather and camping in 20-degree weather. And it's all outfitted with camping gear right now. Man, I did a lot of adventures in 2017. I counted up my calendar. I camped 37 nights. That means over 10% of the year I was on the ground sleeping. That's good living right there. It wasn't just that. It was my wife and I going to see the solar eclipse. Oh my word, the sun totally blocked out by the moon. Crazy, beautiful. Man, if there's something cool to experience adventure-wise, I'm on it all the time. And yet there was a classic adventure I've been planning for I chose not to do. every other year, there's a bike competition, a riding competition. It's for normal Joes, not pros, just normal Joe hacks like me. And that competition is called the GS Trophy, and the winners of that can actually compete with other people from around the world. And I've improved my riding skills, and I've always had a kind of desire to maybe I could be getting a free, all-expense-paid trip to, I can't remember what it was this year, maybe it was Nicaragua or something like that, for all this adventure stuff with people all over the world. It'd be really, really fun. Just competing in the qualifier is a major, major adventure. It's on my calendar, ready to do it, and then I realized, no, I'm not going to do that this year. I'm not going to do that or this every other year because I got other adventures I want to do that weekend, otherwise known as ministry. My life in ministry serving God is an adventure, and you may not be in vocational ministry, but the most important adventure you'll ever be on is not on something like this. It's when you're on the page of God. I chose that weekend. There's some stuff going on around Crossroads. There'll be much, much more spiritually fulfilling and could be huge, huge high impact to do that versus get away to this thing that I had time on the calendar for. And this is always the way it is. You know, we like to think that hiking is our best adventure. I mean, no, it's not. The best adventure is when you climb into an intimate relationship with somebody in marriage. That's an adventure that's going to last and have much more impact than any hike you'll take. We like to think, man, my best adventure is when I sit around a fire. No, your best adventure is going to be when you sit around with your kids through all the developmental stages and you help them become a man or woman of God. That's an adventure. You might think, man, I need to buy this gear for my adventure, and that's fine. God gives us money to bless us to be able to buy gear. That's cool, but I'll tell you what, that's not the adventure. The adventure is when you intentionally choose to live on less money to give God his money back into other areas that will fund his vision and his mission. That's an adventure that very few people are up for, actually living on less money so generosity can happen. Libby and I picked up another child from Compassion International, one from Bolivia. When you choose to add another child to your financial portfolio, you're going to feed and educate for the rest of their childhood, that's an adventure. Here's an adventure. An adventure might be starting a new business. We talked about that in the dining room. An adventure might be having another child. A true adventure might be finally dealing with my alcohol issue in 2018. You want to start dealing with how you abuse alcohol? That's an adventure. Man, it's going to take you to meetings you didn't want to go to. It's going to be hard, difficulty. How you treat women. Let me talk to men. I'll tell you an adventure for a lot of us men. Here's one. Think about how to view the opposite sex differently. Let's have fewer stories about how women feel objectified and devalued by men. For you to change your thought pattern of what a woman is here on this planet to do. Guess what? She's not here to please you. For you to change your thought process on that process and change your relationship of the opposite sex when you have been operating with a certain value set for years and years and years, that's going to be adventure. I could go on and on and on, but I'm promising you, there's some area that God wants you to conquer. There's some new land he wants you to go in. In the Bible, it's all about people going on adventures. Now, just a precursor to one of the things we're going to do in 2018, we're going to have a series on adventure. It's going to be a motorcycle camping themed series. We did a test market of this. We've actually found out that women enjoyed it way more than men. Crazy, crazy. It's true. We're going to do that. And the real story is not going to be about motorcycles and camping. The real story is going to be the backstory of the adventures that people are going through in their life and what are the transferable concepts and principles to being out on adventure and how that relates to my day-to-day most important adventure when I'm in my day-to-day environment. We are going to be casting for this. If you got a story and all you have to have a motorcycle license and you have to have the ability to articulate an adventure that you're wrestling with in your real life, you can go right here to this little information and you can go ahead and apply. We don't have very many slots at all, but if you want to kind of apply to that, I'd love to ride with you across Colorado and camp the whole way on the way to Phantom Lake and kind of dig into your business. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be digging into your business and helping you become the person that God is preparing you to do. So this year, 2018, whatever it is, find the adventure you're going to do. Not just the physical, get away from it, but what's the spiritual adventure important for you in 2018? Well, I'm in another room in my house, also known as the bedroom, where Lib and I are, also known as the Wild Thing room, right here. Boy, a lot of intense stuff has happened in this room, and I'm not talking about that kind of intense stuff. I'm talking about some of Lib's and our family's worst encounters have happened in a bed in 2018. On this bed, there is a little monitor that wirelessly or Bluetoothly connects to a device that's under the skin in her chest that is constantly reading and broadcasting over cell phone towers, broadcasting to the doctor exactly what's happening with her heart. Why is that? Because she had a massive stroke this year, massive. Half of her blood cut off to half her brain, all of her blood cut off to half of her brain, and the family didn't know. Was this it? We're going to have no more Libby in our family. Was she going to be able to talk anymore? Was she going to be able to walk anymore? Was she going to be able to feed herself anymore? All that was on the table, and God miraculously brought her through it. And I do mean miraculous. I'm not going to do a deep dive on it because I did a deep dive on this a number of months ago. You can go and look at it again if you want, where she kind of told the story. But this device now broadcasts to try to figure out what was going on in her heart, because here's the thing. We still don't know. Why did this happen? There's no medical explanation for why this happened. She had every possible test. So the doctor's still trying to figure out, what is it? What's going on here? I think it's because what took place, while it manifested physically, the cause of it was spiritual. 2017, we went to war. We went to war. There's a spiritual battle that's raging in our family in 2017. Just a couple days ago, she went to a corner cabinet that we've had in our house for 28 years. We're in our family for 28 years. That thing has been opened hundreds, thousands of times. For whatever reason, right before the holidays, this time when she opened it up, the glass chose to fell out, severed the tendon in her hand, and it's kind of given her some more difficulty. These are just two of the things I can tell you about. There's other things that are way too personal and way too sensitive for me to go public with right now. I'm not sure that I'll ever go public with these things. And our family stepped back and said, what is going on here? What's going on? There's a spiritual battle. We like to think that this is all there is, this world. What I can see, what I can feel, what I can taste, what I can lie on. Yes, this world does have physical properties, but there is a spiritual element that cannot be seen, but from time to time can be felt. This is what the book of Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 and following says. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. March 9th, 2017 will always be Family Appreciation Day for the Tome family, because that's a day when our family stayed intact instead of somebody being gone or in a wheelchair for the rest of their life. But it's also a day that marked and reminds us that we're in a war. There are powers, there are things in the environment that we can't see that are affecting your life every day. Much of the hardship that you have is a result of the spiritual battle. Someone's trying to get you off your game to get to God. Here's a crazy one. Much of the good things that are happening in your life are not from God. They're meant to get you off your game, to keep you away from God. There is a spiritual enemy that all he wants is you not to be around God. And for some of us, our pain will cause us to doubt God, and I don't like God anymore. For a lot of us, our blessings, our physical things, our multitude of digits in a bank account will cause us to not want God, because why do we need God? We already have everything we want. Everything is good. There's no God, because all I'm doing is what I want to do, and it's all good all the time. There is an enemy who wants to take you down. He's been trying to do it in 2018. Even if you haven't had some of the dramatic things that Tome family's had, I promise you there's been an enemy that's been trying to capture your heart, or has captured your heart. And that enemy is going to keep doing what he's doing in 2018 as well. Come against it. Come against it. And one of the ways you come against it is you don't be an individual mercenary. You don't say, I'm an individual hitman, I'm just doing my own thing. No, every spiritually unhealthy person who is getting tanked is somebody who operates in individuality. You need to be part of a unit. You need to be part of a team. Be part of a battalion. You need to have a group in your life that loves you and you meet with regularly. When March 9th happened, I had friends and phone calls and texts from the people that Lib and I are in a group with every Monday night. We meet the same people, talking about our life, looking in the Bible, figuring out what's going on in our lives that we can support each other with and excite each other with and have fun with each other with. We went with these people to see the solar eclipse, which is one of our adventures. I got texts. All the guys were in that group. They left their place of work immediately. They came and they camped out in that hospital parking lot. And they said, whenever you're ready, we're here. We're here. We got stuff for you. We'll take care. We're here. And they sat down that lot for hours because I wasn't able to leave the side of my wife. When I finally did leave the side of my wife, she was stable enough. I took a little break and had a beer for me. Never had a beer in a hospital parking lot. God bless America. Didn't have alcohol because like I needed alcohol in that thing. It was a gesture of friendship from my friends, and I received that gesture of friendship. I don't know how I would have gotten through that day. I don't know how we'd be getting through the things we're dealing with right now that I'm not talking about if it wasn't for that battalion, that army of men and women that we have an identifiable time to build into and them build into us. Make 2018 the year that you go on the offensive in your spiritual battle, and number one is figuring out who it is that's in your unit, in your company. Make time. Bless yourself by starting to build into great friendships in your life. I'm in a spot right now that I'm in pretty much every day. It's the place where I connect with God in the morning. And when you're trying to connect with the person who runs your life or your coach, you're basically in the locker room. That's where I went in 2018. I went to the locker room because in the locker room is when you're trying to get information that you need. I've started leading this thing called the locker room that goes out to people at Crossroads who want more information. And it's really been a really cool deal. But I tell you, the best locker room is when God gives you the information that you need. He does this a bunch of different ways, and he's been speaking to me in a huge way. I've heard things from God. He's given me information in 2018 in a very rare and profound way. We started this whole thing off by talking about me moving out of this house. We're moving out of this house in large part because we got a word of confirmation from somebody who said, hey, I just heard from God, and I feel a message for you is buy the house. The house you're looking at, go buy it. They had no idea that we were looking at the house. They had no idea about anything, but as they were praying for us, they said, go buy the house. This is a message from God. This is what the Bible refers to as prophecy. Now, prophecy can be a foretelling, a predicting of the future that God allows somebody to see. It can be that. My wife had a prophecy before we were married that she was told that she would marry somebody in ministry and then she would travel a lot. Now, this last year, we traveled a lot, so much so it was a pain in the Batinsky for her to travel. And I remind her of that. I said, honey, you remember when God spoke before you even knew me? Way back in 1986 or whatever that was? This is happening. We're doing a lot of travel because this is what God's will was for our life. I also got another prophecy from God this year, but it's defined not so much as foretelling, but as encouragement. In the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 14, says this, pursue love and earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you may prophesy. For one of you who speaks in a tongue speaks not to men but to God, for no one understands him, but he utters mysteries in the Spirit. On the other hand, the one who prophesies speaks to people for their upbuilding and encouragement and consolation. When I'm here in the morning, believe it or not, Winston, my dog, I should have mentioned him. Winston, my dog, does take this posture with me. It was a normal thing. As I hear from God, he's trying to distract me with his sort of cuteness to just kind of get some warmth. It's kind of a good thing. But in this posture, as I'm with God on a daily basis, I've heard things from him. I've been in the locker room where he's said things from me. Sometimes it's as I read my Bible and as I journal, which is why Crossroads is putting a lot of money to help you read the Word of God and journal. If you've not downloaded the latest version of the Crossroads app, the latest version, you need to get it. We're taking new territory. Every version we have is better than the last, and the most recent one is a massive, massive breakthrough because you're able to journal and capture your thoughts and have other people see what you're thinking if you want them to see, get prayer requests, and actually hear commentary on verses that I and others are commenting on in real time. You will up the likelihood of you hearing from God if you download that app and you get into the Word of God and you talk to Him on a day-by-day basis. One day I was here And I was reading, and Lib came down, and she had a note with her that I'd forgotten about. I was at man camp, and at man camp, a guy came up to me and gave me notes. Said, I felt like you needed to receive this. Now, I have a lot of people give me notes, and sometimes it's, profound things in there. Sometimes it's people telling their stories. Sometimes it's people wanting to sell me something. I get a lot of notes. And so when I get them, I don't necessarily go, ooh, I got to read this immediately. I oftentimes stick in my pocket. I stuck that in my pocket and kind of forgot about it. And this morning, while I was reading and wrestling with some of the warfare stuff that's been happening, Lib came down and said, hey, did you see this? And she had this thing that was in my pocket that had been in there for weeks. Actually, might have even been months. And she brought it down, opened it up, and we both had a pretty profound moment, because this note had the exact thing that I needed to hear from God at the exact time. This note from David said exactly what I needed to do and charted just a good course for me for that day and the next era in my marriage. So here's what's difficult about this topic. We all tend to feel like somebody else is hearing from God more than me. We all can tend to feel, at least I can, that God's not talking to me. He's talking to other people apparently, but not me. I'm not getting all these words from the Lord. Even though I'm talking about prophecy, some of us are intimidated or confused by that word. You need to understand, wherever you are right now, God can speak to you in some way, shape, or form the way you are right now. It could be through a feeling you have. It could be through an awareness. It could be through a word of counsel that somebody else has for you that actually is God's heart. It could be from a Bible verse. It could be from anything. I know I just shared some kind of freaky things here, but that's not been the norm of all of my previous years. Most important thing for you is to just find a place that you can go to put yourself into a place of getting to know God. And He's done. To just put yourself in a place where you could hear from God. Because if you just keep doing the same things you've always done this last year, you'll keep getting the same things you've always gotten. You have got to try some different things to go to a new place spiritually. Perhaps some new friends, some new rhythms, some new books, some new spiritual disciplines, some new something. Do something new in 2018 to make it a year where you said, man, I connected with God in a profound way in that year. So that's where I've gone in 2017. I hope to tell you next year where I went in 2018, but I'll tell you one thing where I'm going. I'm trying to go the way of God and having a life that honors Him and actually works. When you have a life that honors God, believe it or not, it works. So have a great 2018, and we'll see you soon.
What a jerk face.